You know what? I'm feeling a little burnt out. No, not from playing Mokujin. I've been playing him for 26 years. I'll get tired of playing him when I'm dead. No. What I am burnt out from is using my thousands of puppet and bot accounts to harass Namco on every social media platform. That's right. The 41,000 people that voted yes in this poll, all me. If you see any positive comments online about Mokujin, that's not a person. It's all me. And if you like Mokujin, you are me. And whenever I want to take a break from Mokujin, I just play something else. I never played a Danganronpa game before, but wait, those wooden training dummies look awfully familiar. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. I'll try a different game, like Lollipop Chainsaw. I do like Suda51 games. Wait a minute, am I turning into a schizophrenic that sees Mokujin everywhere? Or have I always been one? You know what, I'll just watch a movie instead. I like old kung fu flicks, especially ones starring Jackie Chan, and this one came out 50 years ago, 20 years before Tekken, so surely there will be nothing related to... Oh my god! Crossovers, guest appearances, references. It should not be surprising that Tekken has quite a few of these things. The series has been around for 30 years, and it's pretty popular. You want to see Kazuya fight Kenshiro from Hokuto no Ken? Or maybe see him fight against Steve Minecraft? You got it. Or maybe you want to see Chris Redfield fist a zombie while Heihachi delivers backshots. But there are many characters in Tekken, and there are a few characters that are used more than the others, like Heihachi Mishima, whom I'm pretty sure is the character that has the most amount of guest appearances and cameos. I've seen him in Soul Calibur 2, he was in PlayStation All-Stars, and he made a cameo in Super Smash Bros. He was a playable character in the party game Pac-Man Fever, along with Reiko Nagase from Ridge Racer, and Tiger Jackson, and Astaroth from Soul Calibur. What a lineup. And along with a few other Tekken characters, he shows up in Anna Kournikova's Smash Court Tennis, as well as Smash Court Tennis Pro Tournament 2. Yeah, Tekken has had a few collaborations with sports, and I also looked around but I couldn't find any collaborations with bowling or volleyball, even though Tekken has these two sports as a minigame.
Nice cock. Perfect.
Heihachi's design is even referenced a few times in Great Teacher Onizuka. Yeah, I was rereading the series, and then all of a sudden, that's Heihachi Mishima, and he's grooming middle school girls. Wait a minute. And also I was gonna joke, wow, he's literally me, but it wouldn't be very smart of me to imply I groom underage girls. And yeah, if there is a collaboration, there is a good chance Heihachi is a part of it. And there are very few characters that can come close to the amount of appearances he has, but there is one. What a surprise, it's Mokujin. But first, what is a Mokujin? Well, first of all, he's the best character, but besides that, he's a hard-working father, trying to take care of his family, and he's also in an abusive relationship. He's also 2,000 years old, and he only awakens when there's a great evil. No, not that great evil. The actual devil isn't evil enough. I mean things like a giant purple chicken, the elderly, green men, and women. Now before I go into the guest appearances and references of Mokujin in other media, Mokujin himself is a reference. So let's first take a look at the origin of Mokujin. Going back to 1976, a Hong Kong martial arts film starring Jackie Chan came out. Its name, Shaolin Wooden Men, and Mokujin's design looks very similar to the wooden men in this movie. And some might be thinking, oh, it might just be a coincidence. And I actually thought this as well, but Mokujin has even more references to this movie. Now in this scene, see how the wooden men are punching forward and kicking their feet forward? Now compare it to Mokujin's unique intro in Tekken Tag 2. Another reference to this movie is that Mokujin has a unique wind pose with characters that do Chinese martial arts, like Lei Wulong, who by the way is based off of Jackie Chan. Now I'm not going to show every move that's a reference to Jackie Chan, because that would take a while, but if you do want to see more, I would recommend looking up Jackie Chan's influence on Lei Wulong by Pepper Beef Too Spicy. It's a very good video. Now I'm going to show you two scenes. Keep an eye out on how the wooden men retaliate after Jackie touches them on the chest, and how he defends, and then compare it to the unique wind pose.
You win.
The original Mokujin. Wow. But did you know that there is another wooden dummy based off of the Shaolin Wooden Men. Before Tekken 3, in 1996, there was a game called Tobal No. 1. The game had art and character design by Akira Toriyama, and it was directed by Seiichi Ishii, the man who was the coordinator and game designer of Virtua Fighter 1, as well as the director and game designer of Tekken 1 and Tekken 2. And in the quest mode of this game, there is a minor enemy called Puppet, and Puppet has a very similar design to Mokujin, the two leaves sprouting on the top of his head, as well as the long nose. But the only similarity between the two is looks, so it might just be a coincidence, but who knows. And Puppet made a return in the sequel, with the same design. Now I am going to go over some of the cross games. And what is a cross game? It's a crossover of two or more series, or between two or more companies, like Namco Cross Capcom. And this game is pretty fun, but there's one small problem. The fan-made English patch of this game isn't very good, and I don't like bad translations. So I spent a week brushing up on my Japanese and Chinese because some references to Mokujin are in games or media that don't have an English translation, which is why this video should have came out a week ago, but I had to relearn 2 other languages. Anyways, the only place I managed to find Mokujin in this game is after completing the prologue. You can go into training, and in training there are 3 modes: branch assault, multiple assault, and the tutorial, or tutorial. And just pick whatever mode, then you pick your unit. I picked Reiji and Xiaomu. Then you should end up in the dojo, where you face off against a level 99 Mokujin. And I think you only face him in the training mode, because I got up to chapter 23, and I haven't seen him anywhere else. And now for the Project Cross Zone series, which is much easier to navigate because there's an official English release. And I'm skipping the first one because I don't think Mokujin is in this game. I didn't see him anywhere. And in the training mode, the game just uses regular enemies. And so, moving on to Project X Zone 2, actually Cross Zone. I keep thinking it's X. And Mokujin is in this game. He can be found in the training mode. And in the settings, if you make the enemy weight heavier, Mokujin turns into Tetsujin. So there's a surprise appearance from Tetsujin. And the Cross Zone games are pretty fun. One of my favorite characters is Segata Sanshiro. I really liked his commercial, where he judo throws and chokes out children and tells them to go play the Sega Saturn.
Segata Sanshiro! Segata Sanshiro! Segata Sanshiro! 音速ハリネズミソニックのレースゲームソニック R セガサターン
The next cross game is Cross Edge, and like in the other cross games, you can find Mokujin in the training mode, or in this game, the practice battle. And in this game, Mokujin is called Woodman, which is the literal translation for Mokujin, and he also has 69,999 health. And Woodman is also what I say when I see Morgan, and from what I played of this game, I think Mokujin might be the only Tekken character in this game. I haven't seen Heihachi or anyone else. It's Pac-Man from Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and Pac-Man in this game rides around in a giant Mokujin mech, or Mokumech, which is Mokujin's giant head with his arms and legs attached to it. And besides looks, there's not much relation to Mokujin. Pac-Man has his own unique moveset, and he doesn't really copy any other characters. His moveset is pretty simple. 236A has him shoot out a Pac-Man pellet, and 214B gives him a flash kick. 41236B is a dash attack that can travel full screen, and 214B has him do a butt stomp attack from in the air. And I have no idea how good Pac-Man is, because I'm pretty sure he was banned in tournaments. And one interesting detail is that on the Mokumech's back is the Pac-Man maze, with Pac-Man being chased by Inky. And now for Pokken Tournament, and this game is filled with references to Tekken. Did you know that Pikachu is a Mishima? Pikachu has an Electric Wind God Fist, as well as other Mishima moves. But I'm only here for Mokujin, and you can find him in the Ferrum Dojo stage, and you can find a group of Mokujin placed in the corner in the background. And in the other arena, in the stage, you can find another group of Mokujin, tucked away in the corner. And I'm pretty sure you can only find Mokujin in the Ferrum Dojo stage. And I was looking around in the background, and what happened over there? Looks like a Looney Tunes gag. Now, Point Blank 3, a shooter game developed by Namco, and throughout the game there's a bunch of references to other Namco games. You can find a Heihachi mask and Klonoa. But where's the Mokujin? Well, in this game, there is an entire minigame dedicated to him, and during the minigame, they play one of the best songs from Tekken Tag 1. And the song used in the minigame is Paul's Stage from Tag 1. Danganronpa V3, Killing Harmony. In Tenko Chabashida's research lab, there are a bunch of wooden training dummies and one massive one that look very similar to Mokujin. And that's about it. I didn't find Mokujin anywhere else really. Next is Little Nightmares 2, which was published by Bandai Namco by the way. If you pre-ordered Little Nightmares 2, you got a code that would let you download a Mokujin mask as a pre-order DLC bonus. A Mokujin cosmetic as a special edition DLC. That sounds awfully familiar. But yeah, the mask looks good. The best mask in the game. In Lollipop Chainsaw, there's a picture in the prologue of the game that has a bunch of wooden training dummies that look very similar to Mokujin. I don't think there are any more references in this game to Mokujin, but then again I was pretty distracted by the incredible plot of this game. The game Brawlhalla had a collaboration with Tekken at one point, adding Tekken skins, KO effects, and emotes to the game, but where's Mokujin? Well, if you scroll through the customization, go down to avatars, right there is Mokujin, just a small little box of him. Mokujin even appears in media outside of video games, like in the anime Tekken Bloodline. You know, the weird show with the triangle shadows? The show was a loose adaptation of the Tekken 3 story. The show had all the classic Tekken 3 characters, like Jin, Xiaoyu, Huarong, and everyone's favorite, Leroy. What? You don't remember Leroy? He's always been in Tekken 3, he's a classic. Here, let me show you. See? He's been here since the beginning. Mokujin only shows up for 1 second in the show, right there. Did you see it? Right there, Mokujin is just hanging off the wall. That's his only appearance. In the show Steven Universe, created by Rebecca Sugar, there's a reference to Mokujin. That's right, it's in Season 3, Episode 19. When Steven asks Amethyst to play a fighting game, one of the characters in the character select is called Good Guy, and that's just straight up Mokujin. Cool reference. And the show is alright. I'm not the biggest fan. My personal favorite show is Courage the Cowardly Dog, starring Courage the Cowardly Dog. Mokujin appears for about 5 minutes in the very nonsensical Tekken Blood Vengeance movie. Right around the end of the movie, Heihachi opens up a box that apparently contains the spirits of the Mokujin. This was all part of his plan, to use thousands of Mokujin to combine together and create a giant Mokujin monster. And where were these thousands of Mokujin hiding? Yeah, that's right. Kyoto Castle was made entirely of Mokujin. And the Mokujin have a collective conscience and apparently have a voice and also telepathy. Well, at least it's accurate to the game, but I did not expect a woman's voice. This movie is very goofy, and the only really good part was like the last 15 minutes, and the scene ends with Diablo Jimmy flying off into the sunrise, while there's a big Moku kanji charred into the mountain. Time for some comics. I read through Tekken by Titan Comics, and the only place I've seen Mokujin is in this one page. Can you see him? He's right there in the bottom corner, covered by a barcode. Great. And this Tekken comic wasn't too bad. It was written by Kevin Scott and art by Andy Tong. Tekken 3 is a Chinese comic written by Li Xianghao with art by Huang Xiqie. and this comic is completely in Chinese. I couldn't find any English translation, but the art in this is pretty good. Even if you can't understand Chinese, I recommend giving it a read. And Mokujin is in this series, and not just in the cover pages, he actually appears in the story, even if he only shows up for like 2 chapters. Mokujin's first appearance is when he confronts Huarong. The two proceed a fight, but it's not much of a fight. Within 10 pages, Huarong gets his chest caved in by Mokujin. Damn. His second appearance is when he shows up and gets into a 3 versus 1 fight. Mokujin holds his own against Forest Law, Julia Chang, and Lei Wulong. But Mokujin gets damaged, and it turns out Mokujin was Paul Phoenix this whole time, and he was brainwashed to be evil. This might have been an interesting twist if the comic didn't say he was Paul Phoenix this whole time, like right after he beat Huarong. So it's not even the real Mokujin, it's just Paul Phoenix in cosplay. But I really did enjoy this comic. I also found this drawing of Ogre as a turtle. And yes, he did take a crap in the background. There was also this drawing of Tiger Jackson. I was going to make a joke, but I might get in trouble. And also Jin gets eaten whole by a shark, by the way. I'm not even joking. So after reading a bunch of Tekken comics, Mokujin is pretty rare. He might show up in doodles or fan art, or maybe in the corner of a cover, but I don't really see him done in stories. So I guess that's it. Did I go over every Mokujin appearance? No, but I'm pretty sure I went over the major ones. I try to stick with things that were officially licensed, like cartoons, games, comics, etc. I'm sure Mokujin appears in quite a few fan comics and indie games. And speaking of indie games, there's a small game you might not have heard of. It's called Tekken 8, and Mokujin appears in one of the character's endings. Pretty cool. You know what would be even cooler? Is if instead of a cameo, he was a playable character.